Now that you've been introduced to the various options for creating e-commerce apps through Goaddon, this episode aims to help you stay on top of the activity that will flow through your apps. In episode 4, I used the Go to Us add-on to create a merchant-facing website called check-in.onecheckout.network, and I integrated one of my demo shops into it. Then in episode 5, I created another website enabled by the Goexplore add-on, this one called shopapi.onecheckout.network. You may remember that I used a shortcut to install a few repositories that combined made these top 3 menu entries available to super users on the website. The rest of episode 5 was spent in the webshop's menu entry by exploring the Shop API. Since that episode, I've added a few more accounts and integrations into the database of OneCheckout through this merchant-facing website. And since I've created the new accounts through my existing user, I can switch between them. As more accounts are created in your app, you'll find yourself in greater need for efficient monitoring, for instance, to catch and resolve any integration problems that may emerge. So in this episode, we'll explore the rest of the functionality provided by the repositories I installed into shopapi.onecheckout.network. Each account will have a number of integrations, and some of them will occasionally get into trouble for one reason or another. The webshop's menu entry that we've used to explore the Shop API gives you an overview of all of the integrations that are currently active across accounts. On each integration is an indication of the last time data was pulled from the shop. There is also a tab for erroring shops. Here you can inspect the details of individual errors. In this case, it looks like the merchant has changed the credentials that was originally shared with us through the GoFetch interface. You can review these informations here and even change them if, for instance, the merchant is able to share the updated credentials with you. Once you've made the change, you can visit the Shop API section to test the new settings. But it seems in this case the updated password don't work either. You can reset the different timestamps that was registered last time GoFetch attempted to pull data from the shop. GoFetch will use these timestamps to determine if it's time to do another attempt. So if you reset them, the shop will immediately be queued for a new attempt. In the case you cannot resolve an error yourself, you can contact the merchant through means of your own, or you can open a ticket. Since we don't have any particular insights, aside from the informations that are already on record for this integration, we're gonna create the ticket without any additional input. We can then compose our message and choose a number of recipients. Most often, the recipients can be found in the list of suggested email addresses from users who has access to the account associated with the ticket. Every message will be added to the ticket's activity log. Prior to this recording, I have registered the SMTP details of OneCheckout, so the email will be sent from robot@onecheckout.network. As with all other emails in the past episodes, the layout of this one isn't particularly interesting, but you can change it as you please. The merchant can respond with an email to a reply to address of your choosing. But you can also choose to include a link to the GoFetch interface on your own website, through which the merchant can now reply. Since both participants in this conversation are using the same inbox, I get a notification here every time a message is exchanged. When we follow the link back to the ticket, we'll see that the message from the merchant has been added to the activity log. I'm going to close this ticket and show how merchants can create tickets instead. Let's follow this link from the conversation back to the GoFetch interface on the merchant-facing website, where merchants can attempt to fix broken integrations. But let's not really fix it. Instead, we'll see what happens after a failed attempt. The details of the error are presented to the merchant, and additionally an option to request support is offered. The merchant can provide their contact information, describe their problems, and provide additional instructions. They can also provide you with access to their internal systems if needed. You can opt out of further communication through the GoFetch interface if you prefer handling everything from email. But in this setup, the communication can continue from within this secure channel that stores all messages directly in your own database. Let's tap back into my inbox and open one of the new ticket notifications. From there, we can follow the link to the new ticket. For context, the ticket has been connected with the failed integration attempt, so we can review the exact informations submitted during the integration attempt. We can also review the errors. If the merchant provided additional informations, we can use them to try and sort out the problem. In this example, by signing into the admin section of the shop in question. But we also have the option to escalate the ticket to the developers behind the integration, who sets their own pricing and their own terms for making their services available. For this integration, the developer is Goaddon. But let's instead add a new superuser, who should be responsible for the handling of tickets. Superusers can have one of two access levels, and while our own has the high level, new superusers will initially be granted the low level. By navigating to the Permissions menu entry, you can exercise fine-grained access control for each low-level superuser, and for instance limit their access to the specific e-commerce platforms they are tasked to oversee. You can also control their ticket access and, for instance, only grant access to open tickets and the shops that are associated with them. Furthermore, you can choose default recipients of future ticket notifications. Before we wrap this episode up, let's navigate back to the ongoing ticket and reassign it to the new superuser. Since everything you've seen is provided through a repository that you can easily fork, nothing is set in stone, and you can quite easily add additional functionality to it. In the previous episodes, my different demo apps have been collecting as much data and as many data points as possible, but this may be unnecessary for your use case. So next episode will take you through the process of limiting the scope of your integrations.